Okay, dear Esther, we have discussed previously some primary concepts about databases and DBMS, rather I can say relational DBMS, and you know what is meant by relational. Further, we have discussed few concepts about structured query language. Now we are going to develop some simple CRUD application, and you know what is meant by CRUD. These are some basic operations performed in terms of databases. C for creation, for example, creation for databases and relations or tables, then retrieval, then updation, and further deletion. So if we are able to develop such sort of applications, then we can develop more complex and large scale application, because these operations are very basic and primary level. If we can create a small scale database and small table, then we can create some larger database as well. If we are able to retrieve data from a table, then we can retrieve data from some bigger databases. If we are able to update same way, then we can handle updates in different type of complex databases as well. And let me tell you, um, one operation is not mentioned in these with these four letters, and that operation is insertion. And you can believe it is intrinsic, it is also included in CRUD application. So we can insert records and data into databases, into tables. So we can start first of all, because start from some previous discussion. For example, you can see, just like we have developed some calculator, and you know, by using PyQt5 a library, we would be able to develop some Windows applications where we would be able to include some edit lines, some buttons, and we were able to perform some little uh, actions on button click. So now we have to, first of all, we have to develop a graphical user interface, and by that interface, we will able to add records into the table. We would be able to delete records, we would be able to update records and retrieve records for showing over some appropriate over some interface. So again, we are using this PyQt5 library and this Qt widgets from PyQt5. So let me create some new file. For example, I can create here any file. For example, I am saying CRUD.py, and you know, py is for Python, because all we are doing is a Python development using different libraries. So because writing some code from scratch is a way of learning new things again and again, or sometime revision of some previous concepts. So you know, we have to import some libraries, external libraries, import sys, because it is important for launching our application. And now this time, we because there are a lot of different type of DBMS. We have been discussing in previous couple of sessions about DBMS. DBMS is a software, so there are different type of softwares now. Today, that DBMS software we are working with, that is SQLite 3. So SQLite is a lightweight SQL databases, relational databases, and 3 is a version, and you can install SQLite 3 at your system by using pip. And you know how you can use pip for installation such sort of components or libraries. You can install by using this command pip install then SQLite 3, and it will take some time for installation. So we also need to import SQLite 3, because this way we can create databases by using this SQLite 3 library. We can create databases, we can create tables, and all of the data definition, all of the queries. We can run all of the queries from data definition language as well as data manipulation language, which we were discussing in a previous session. So I hope you remember. Data manipulation include insertion, deletion, and updation. Some researcher says retrieval is also included in DML, but it's some sort of technical issue. Anyhow, DDL include creation of uh, DBs, databases, and tables, and some other type of creations are also included. Anyhow, so everything is included in this SQLite. I think I have wrongly written SPLite. It is SQLite. SQL SQLite 3. Okay. So further, we have to import different modules from PyQt5 dot Qt widgets. We have been doing in previous sessions as well. For example, Q application, and if something is missing, we can import later on whenever we are developing some specific component, because we would be unable to uh, we would be unable to draw any of the component without importing some specific library. Anyhow, we can start, and after that, whatever component we need, we can import. So for creation of GUI, I can classify my code into different parts. For example, it's a main GUI, uh, main application, graphical user interface. And for that, for performing any type of work, I have to create some classes. I can write any name here. For example, I am saying main window or main application. Fine. And whatever the main application is or main GUI is, I have to import that main window with q main window. And uh, yes, I have imported q main window. Then you can see it is suggesting me some code, and I think I have to adopt this suggestion. So for adopting any suggestion, I have to press only tab button, and after that super dot init. Can you see my screen? Right now we are calling uh, main window. Main window is a argument which we have, uh, is our class. So we are creating some sort of constructor, because constructor have the same name just like a class. And we will define the body of the constructor.
You cut out.
We have discussed this idea in previous discussion, and it's a very uh, core feature from object oriented programming. In almost all of the different OOP paradigm languages, object oriented programming languages, it's a core idea that the constructor must have the same name with the class. You can observe the name of the class is main window, and it's a super constructor with the same name, that is main window. Fine. Okay. So we can set the set window title. We can choose from this drop down window title, and we can set any appropriate title which would be descriptive, just like we are going to perform some CRUD operation. So I can set simple CRUD application. This title will be displayed over my window. And further, I can create some graphical user interface. For example, for providing some graphical user interface, I can add different widgets. And for creating any of the widget, I have to use self keyword, self dot central underscore widget is equal to its name of variable. And I have to use q widget component from PyQt5 Qt widgets. It's a q widget. And if it is not imported, you can see this component is underlined. So what I have to do, I have to copy this component and I have to import. I have to write its name here. So the underline, that is a warning, would be finished. Okay, so I have initialized some q widget. After that I can, okay, now I have to self dot set central widget, self dot central widget. Yes, this suggestion is fine. I have to set this widget. I have to add this widget into my window. Then, because at the main window, let me tell you little structure. For example, I am going to perform CRUD application. So first of all, we have to do some basic discussion or decisions. I have to create some table. For example, I can create table in databases. For example, the name of table might be students or student info or simple students. And I can create different columns. For example, you can see id, you can say id, name, cell, and course. Or for simplicity, I can add only id, name, and cell, only three columns, or three, you can say, uh, cells. Okay, so if this students table have three column, then according to this structure, I have to create further graphical user interface, because now I have to create some layout for table layout for displaying results. Because what type of interface I am going to create, there would be simple records would be retrieved from the table if there are already existing, or if we have added. So all of the records will be shown just like uh, columns this way. Then for example, if it's a, you can see these are different columns, so a table should be there, and after tables there would be some values, and at bottom I can create different buttons. For retrieval will be automatic. Whenever I will run my application, all of the records, for example id1, id2, and for example name, all of these records would be displayed automatically. For example name, there would be some other name, then cell phone, for example. Fine. So it would be part of the graphical user interface. After that I can add different buttons for adding records, for editing or updating records, and for deletion of records. So right now I want to create some table layout for displaying results, or displaying different columns from the table of the database. So for that I have to create some variable self dot table underscore widget, and for that I have to call some built-in component, which is for uh, for developing some table. I can use some built-in component from PyQt5, uh, which is qtable widget. If I have not imported this component, then uh, I can copy this component from here, because this component is also from qt widgets. So what will I do? I will only paste it here, qtable widget. By importing this component, I can create some table for for retrieving records from the database and displaying in that table. Because we have discussed in our previous session that relational databases are just in the form of tables. So we can display all of the records in tables. For that I have to draw some tabular user interface, GUI, so that I am importing this qtable widget. So I have to draw some columns, and after drawing columns I can add different rows in that table. Okay, after importing this qtable widget, now what I can do, self dot table underscore widget dot, there are different functions, set column, yes, set column count, yes, set column count. And you can set the column count according to your table, and we have decided we will create a table which will have three columns. So I can write here value 3 for fine. So this table will have three columns, and now I have to set self dot table underscore widget dot set horizontal header labels. It's fine, it's good. This suggestion is good. The first is ID, then name, then age, or we have decided the third column as a cell. And so these would be three columns for our table. So our table is decided. Now I can add different buttons for performing different actions over my database table, buttons for uh, data manipulation. What we can do at start, we can work only with addition. We can add some records. After that, after getting some functionality, we can extend this application for updation and deletion also. So add underscore button, and we have to use self keyword before self dot add underscore button equal q push button. This suggestion is good, but what I have to do, I have to use self before add underscore button. Then q push button is a component which I have to import. So I have to copy and paste it here, and it is a title, whatever title I can use. For example, I am saying with this button add item, or I can write add student is appropriate because I want to create table student table. So I have added this add student, and after that I have to call some clickable function self dot add underscore button dot clicked dot connect. This suggestion is also good, and it's fine. Okay, now I have to add different this table and this button into my layout. So I have to create some layout. For example, for layout, what I have to do, layout equal q v box layout. Yes, this suggestion is also good. uh, Vertical box layout is fine, but I have to, first of all, I have to import this component from PyQt5 Qt widgets. I have copied and pasted here, and further I have to pass some parameter here, and the parameter is self dot central underscore widget. Fine. After that, I have to add different widgets whatever I have created by using add widget function. And I have created table underscore widget, and I have created some button layout add widget self dot add button, because you can see I have created this add button widget. I have created table underscore widget. So I have added both of the widgets, both of the components into my vertical box layout. And now the simple I have created the simple layout. For example, before doing any of some other thing, what I can do, I can show this uh, layout over my window. If All of these code we have discussed in previous session, and in this main I can create Q application system dot argv, it's good. And after that I have to create this main win equal main window, it's also fine. And I have to show main win dot show, it's also good. And after that I have to exit. So but there is a this component which I have not included imported, so I have copied and paste over here. And right now I want to run this code for checking its output. So because first of all we want to check the layout, and I have commented this line because I have not defined this function yet, so it will issue some error. So that I have commented this line. Whenever I will run this code, you will see what user interface would be there. You can see there is a very simple interface. There is id column, name column, cell column, and here if some records are already added into student table, those records will be displayed over here row by row. And whenever I will click this button, a new window should be open for adding name and cell phone. But this id would be auto increment, so we have to provide only two values for name and cell phone for all of the students. So let me uh, let me define this add student function, uh, as well as there I have to create some database and table where all of the records would be saved. So I am closing this one and I am uncommenting this line. And after that, what I have to do, I have to first of all I have to create some database. For creating database, first of all I have to, it's a layout, I have added the layout. And now I want to create database. So before creating any of the database, we have to develop a connection for creating db. We have to develop connection with sqlite3. So for that, what I have to do, I have to create some connection string just like this. But with this variable I have to use this self keyword, self dot con is a connection variable. And I have to use this sqlite3. It is a it's an external library which I have imported at the start. And I
So
have,
for
okay, let me tell you. It's a variable self.con. So you can observe, whenever we are creating some variable, for example add underscore button, we have attached this self keyword for this application. So this con is a name of the variable, and this self is for this application, uh, which is, we have passed this for constructor.
okay,
we,
so
we, we,
saying
we Yes.
so self identifies the current
Yeah.
script that we're writing,
Yes.
and then con is for the connection
Name of
between
the,
SQLite.
yes, we can write a full name as full name of the variable, as name should be descriptive, so we can write this way also, it's not a problem. And this sqlite3 is a sqlite 3 library for creating databases, for creating tables, for running insert query, update query, delete query, which we have discussed in
Mm-hmm.
basics of database, and I have provided you with these
A
nodes.
reading. Mm-hmm.
Yes, so we can create tables. We can create first of all databases, then tables, then we can insert records, we can retrieve records, we can delete records. But before creating databases, before doing any of the DDL or DML queries, we have to create a connection,
Mm-hmm.
sqlite3.connect, and we have to provide the name of the database, that because I have added some some descriptive cell names, and I have added this add student, and I have installed here some extension which is AI code suggestion. So due to that AI extension, it is suggesting me the name of the database studentdb.db. .db is actually extension for databases, and it is studentdb is name of the database. I can simply write student.db or studentdb.db. It's up to us, because this student is name of database only, and this .db is showing that the extension, and different files have different extensions. For example, Microsoft Word files have .doc or .docs extension. Excel files have .xls or .xlsx extensions, and the same way different files have different extensions. So this way we are developing some connection with database file which is student.db. Is it
Okay.
good? Okay,
Mm-hmm.
okay. So next, what we have to do, we have to create some cursor. This cursor is also you can say variable. What this cursor will do, this cursor will create some connection, or some you can say make some connection with this student.db database. And by
Mm-hmm.
by using this cursor, I will create table, I will run different queries. Fine. For example, right now, if I want to create table, so what can I do? I can run this command self dot cursor dot execute is a function, and this function will execute any query which I will write in parentheses in double quotes. And if I want to create table, so I can use a query create table. uh, if not exist, it is just for checking. If the table is not existed, then it will create new table. But if the table is already there, then it will not create the table. If the table is available in specific location, then it will not recreation of the table. Fine. So this query will runs only once after creation of student db. Next time, whenever we will run this code, it will not create a new table, because table is already available there. For checking if the table is there, so we are writing if not exist, then we can create name of the table is student. So name of the table is student, and what are different columns I have already defined: id, name, and cell. But keep in mind, the case is very important here, because the first column id is a primary key, so I have to write the type of this column is which is integer, and primary key. And primary key is already auto increment, and the next column is name, and the third one is cell. So id has a type integer, and it's a primary key. And we have discussed primary key in our basic concepts of databases. uh, yes, here, keys, super key, then there is a primary key. And I have told you, in every type of table, key should be there which can uniquely identify all of the records. So in our case, that key is, that column is id. So the next column is name, and the type of name column would be text, because we can write alphanumeric values. So the uh, third column is cell phone, and for that cell phone, text is already good type, because text means we can write some characters or digits also, it's not a problem. So by executing this command, it will create a table, and after that I can perform any of retrieval or insertion functions. So create table, if not exist in the data, it's fine, it's only a comment. So what I will do, I have to commit this. CONN dot commit is also another function. By executing this commit, this command will be actually executed, or actually created a table. Fine. So if there are some records available, so what it will do, self dot load underscore items. If, because right now we are going to run this code for the very first time, but after running this code we can add different records. So it will load items, it will load records from the table. After that we have to get records, or load records from load student records from the DB table to display into our graphical user interface. And uh, about our graphical user interface, which is a simple 3-column display. So we have to define, let me check. Yes, so I have, it's already inside some function. So I have to define load items, rather I have to write, first of all, load, not even load items, I can write load students. Okay, now it's a function, and I have to write some code in this function for loading students. If some students are already there in my database, in my student table, so what I can write here, self dot table underscore widget dot set row count. It is important function. First of all, by default row count should be 0. Then what I can do, I have to execute some query. It is giving me suggestion, and it's fine. Self dot cursor dot execute select asterisk from students, but the name of the table is not students, the name of the table is student only, and you can see from here. But it is, I think, logical that we have to name the table as plural. Okay, so I am I am changing the name of the table, select asterisk from students, and it's a select query. And by running this query, because it is I have only uh, written a query here, but I have to run this query further. For running, I have to write here, for example, I am saying students is a variable is equal to self dot cursor dot fetch all is a function. Fetch all is a function which will fetch all of the records from students table. After that, I can use some for each um loop to display all of the records in my table which I have created. So what we have done, it is a function load student which is called from here. So we are going to define, we have executed this query which is select asterisk from students if there are some students. So we can retrieve those students, and we can show the results of those students by using some for each loop, which is specific loop for tackling such records. For example, I am saying for row student and enumerate whatever records will it will get in this variable, which this one students equals self dot cursor dot fetch all. It will fetch all the records if the records are there in students table, select asterisk from students. So we are getting all of the columns, because from previous SQL discussion I have told you we can write here some column names also. For example, I also can write this way. If I want to select some specific columns only, I can write uh, select name, comma cell, because there are three columns. And if I want to select all of the three columns, I can write id comma name comma cell. But there is another shortcut way to retrieve all the columns from uh, database table, and for that we can write asterisk as select asterisk from students, so we are getting all of the columns. So in students variable, all of the records will be saved if there are available in table, and we want to iterate those records by using this students table. And because it will return table records just like a two-dimensional array, so it will return records like 2D array. So 2D array is just like multiple columns and multiple rows. For tackling that type of record, I need two variables, student for students, and there is a row. So that we have to add nested loops. Okay, so I am doing self dot table dot widget dot insert row. That is fine. The suggestion is good. So I have to adopt this. Further, there is a nested for loop for iterating different rows. For column item in enumerate student, it's good. And self dot uh, table underscore widget dot set item, I have to call this function set item. And in this function I have to pass row, column, and where I have to show all of these record queue table widget item, this one, and I want to change the value into string, what it is. Okay, rather there is not a column. Okay, okay, so by doing this one, now the records will be retrieved and displayed in in the window which we have run previously. So after that, after completing this load students, now we have to implement this add student function, and I have commented this line of code because when I was running the code just for checking my output, uh, for checking my user interface, because this function was not available, so it was issuing some error. Right now I am going to define this function add student. So I have to write that function for load students. After that I have to define function for adding students, add student function. For defining any function I have to use def keyword, and the name of the function is add student. I hope from line number 23 that yes, it's good. Otherwise I can copy this identifier so that there is no uh, error, typographical error. And what I have to do, I have to I have to call some sort of new dialog window. Add, I can write any identifier. For example, I am saying new add dialog, and I have to pass here self. There is a result is equal to dialog dot execute. Okay, now I also have to create this add dialog where whenever I am pressing over add student button, so new window should open where I can add the records of student, for example the name of the student and cell number of the student. So I will develop this dialog later on. If result is equal to, okay, if result equal q dialog dot accepted, if the results are there, then we can what we can do, name equal dialog dot name underscore input dot txt text, and I have to get this name from that dialog box. I have to get the cell number from the same dialog. For example, dialog dot name underscore input, rather its name should be cell underscore input dot txt, then self dot cursor dot execute, because right now we are going to insert the records in table, and the name of the table is student, so the query should be insert into students. And how many cells are there, how many columns are there. There are three columns, but first column is id, and this id is primary key, so we have no need to enter any value by ourselves, but it will be entered automatically. So after telling the number of name of columns, I have to provide value values for these two cells, and the way of providing value here is I have to write here sign of interrogation for two times. After that, after this closing double quotes, put I have to put some comma, then I have to enter name of the variables where the values are stored, and these names are name and cell, name comma cell, and it is a way to insert the records into students table. Then I have to connect with my database, which is self.connect.commit. After committing my query, it will actually execute. Then again, because if new record is added into the database, then I have to call again self.load underscore student. I think it is the name of the function same. Otherwise I can copy this one so that there is no chance of error. Load underscore students, and after that I can show some message box, queue message box, for showing some intimation to the user that record has been added. I can write any of the string here, for example success. Then I can write new student has been added successfully. Okay, after that, because now I have developed my appropriate functions, because right now I need to load students, I need to add students. Now what can I do? I can close the connection which I have opened, because it is very good practice to close all of the connections what we have opened. Close the connection to database. Further, if we have opened some file, we have to close that file also. Anyhow, right now I just want to close only close event self. uh, it is doing some database. Left close event self comma, it is not in some oop way, so I have to write self event only. Then self dot con dot close and event dot accept. Now only one thing is remaining. I have to develop dialog box, this add dialog, by using this dialog, records will be entered into database. Dialog for adding student into database, and I have to use I have to draw here two input text for saving name and cell phone into the database. So first of all, I have to create a class. I can name that class as what I have written here. This one I can copy the name of dialog, add dialog, and I have to pass here parent q dialog, and Now I have to define what it was suggesting. Define init self parent none. It's good to adopt this suggestion. Then super dot init parent, uh, it's good, but I have to make some changings because super I have to pass the name of the dialog, add dialog, self. Now it's good. Then dot init and parent, it's fine now. Now I have to set the name of the window, set window, uh, set window title. Where is the window? This one, set window title, add new student, and I also can set geometry here, self dot set geometry. Let me check what size was for the parent window, and for parent window it is the size. I can write some accordingly. If parent window started from 400 300, so I can start at 450 and 350, and size for 600 and 300, it's fine. So I have set the geometry. Now I want to add some widgets which are important, widgets for the dialog. And I need two text field, self dot name underscore label is equal to q label, and the label should name because I want to add name and cell phone. Then self dot name underscore input, it was good suggestion, but yes, this one, name underscore input q line edit, it's good. And I can copy these two statements, but I need to change little, cell underscore label cell phone, and cell underscore input. Then it's a q line edit. After doing this one, I have to add these two components, cell phone self dot add underscore button. I also need to add some button, q push button, and I can write here add student, caption of the button add student. Then I need to self dot add underscore button dot clicked dot connect self dot accept. Okay, now I have to add these two labels to line edits, and add student button into my layout, adding widgets into layout. For adding widgets into layout, first of all I have to set some layout. Layout is equal to, I need to call virtual box layout. Then in this layout I need to add widget, and there are 5 total widgets, self dot name underscore label. Then I need to add self dot name underscore input. Then I can copy these two line statements for cell phone. For example, self dot cell underscore label, cell underscore input. Then I need to add button self dot mm, add underscore button. Now it is done with adding layouts. After that I have to launch that layout by calling set layout, and the name of the layout is layout only. Now after that I have already uh, launched this application. It's good. Okay, if we are running this, so right now, because there is no record is available right now, if I am clicking over this button, then new dialog box should open. Fine, so it is good. I can write here name, I can write here some cell phone. If I am pressing over add student, it is not showing. Let me check what is the problem. So okay, so we are running this code, and you can see, so this module, this software is running, but and a database file is saving, but records are not stored in the database. And you know, we have installed little software. Let me open, that is database browser SQLite. So we are able to check the outputs, check the records from database. So what we can do with this software, let me tell you. I have to open a database. So you know, database is where database is located in E drive, and work, and teaching, tutoring, Python. In this folder, database is there with the name of students. So you can see there is a table students available, but whenever we are browsing data, so no data is there. And if I am running the software and no records are saving, so let me tell you what is the issue in this module. Records are not saving. So because there is a very little problem due to which records are not saved into database. Let me tell you here, this accepted should be with a capital A. It is only a little, you can say, mistake. So right now, if I run this module again, so you can see it would be able to store uh, records in the table. I am clicking over add student button. If I am entering some name here, I am entering cell phone, and if I am pressing over add button, so it is showing me a pop-up box, new student has been added successfully. And at the same time, if I am going to DB browser and refreshing this page, or you can say uh, if I am clicking over here, so you can see there are three columns. If I am going to browse data, so data is available in the database. So we Now we are confirmed that data is storing in the database. So this little code was saving data in the database, and now we have to extend this code for deleting the stored records and for updating the records. But before going further, I can show you what was going on in this code. So it's a main window, and in this main window we have drawing the graphical user interface, the layout. You can see here we have added some button for data manipulation. And what we have to do right now, let me show you. In this user interface, there is a add student button. Here we have to add two more buttons for delete student and for update student, and we can do this by step. So first of all, for creating new buttons, what I have to do, I can copy this code and I am pasting. So I can write here delete student, because I am going to add a new button in this user interface, and the caption for this button will be delete student. Further, I also want to write some code. I can write self dot delete underscore student dot clicked. Whenever this button will be clicked, it will connect with a function, and I can write name of that function as delete student. Fine. Now right now I have to define this delete student function. By clicking this button, that function will be called and record will be deleted from the table. So further, I have to, just like I have added this add button in this user interface, I also have to add the delete button. So what I have to do, layout dot add widget self dot delete underscore student. So by writing this code, you can observe a new button has been added, but this button is doing nothing right now. The program is not running because still this function is not there. So I can comment this line of code, and if I am running this code, you will observe the module is running and new button is added here, delete student. If I am clicking over this button, nothing is happening because right now there is no such a function named delete student. So I have to define this function right now for uh, for the working of this button. So what I have to do now, I have to define this function named delete student. So load student function is here, defined here. Then further add student function is defined here, and now I have to define uh, a new function. Name of that function would be function for deleting student, and name of that function should be this one, because sorry, I have to copy the name of the function so that there is no chance of typographical mistake. So I have copied this name of the function, and now I have to define that function delete student. And now further I have to define this function for uh, there should be a parameter self, and now I have to write some code here. So first of all, let me tell you what will happen whenever I want to delete some code. Then first of all, I have to click over the record what I want to delete. So it is suggesting me this line of code. I think it is good. Selected underscore item. Otherwise, I can write selected underscore row is equal to self dot table underscore widget. It is the name of the table widget, where I want to select some record. So from this table widget, I want to select current row. So whenever I will select any row, that row will be active, will be work as a active row, or you can say active record. So I can check if selected underscore row is not equal -1. What it means, if there is some record, if there is some record available. So what I can do here, student underscore id is equal to self dot table underscore widget. It is our table widget dot item. From item, I have to check selected row. If selected row is there, then I have to get the text of that selected row, because I want to delete that row. Okay, now what I want to do, I have to run some query for deleting. But before running that query, I have to check self.cursor.execute. mm, I can get some confirmation before writing this code. What I can do, I can get some confirmation from the user if he really want to delete the record. So I can display here some message box, which is queue message box, and I can ask some question from the user of this application. So what I can ask, delete, rather I can write, are you sure to delete this record? So it's a confirmation message from the user. And let me write here type of this confirmation, delete. Yes, delete confirmation, and this string will be displayed over the message box. And there could be, okay, are you sure you want to delete this record? Then I can write here queue message box dot yes, or queue message box dot no, and queue message box dot no. Okay, fine. So whenever user will click over yes, then what will happen, record will be deleted, record should be deleted. But we have to write some code for deleting the record. What is the error here? Let me write in the single line. If it is showing some error, I think here a comma should be placed. Now it's good, I think. Okay, fine. So if because I have retrieved the response of the user in this variable, so I can check if confirm is equal to q message box dot yes. If from message box I have got yes, then because I have to check this, then I can write here this line of code, this one, because it's a if condition. So that I have to write this line of code little indented right side. Self dot cursor dot execute delete from students, where id equal student underscore id, and I have to parse this id into int. If this happens, then what can I do? I can write some message box, again q message box dot information. It is just intimation for the user. I just want to give the user a message: success deletion. And I can show message here, uh, student has been deleted. Okay, so if if it happens, if record has been deleted, then this message will be displayed. On the other hand, if there is some problem could be any situation where record is not deleted, so I can show some other message. I can show here unsuccessful, or you can say task unsuccessful. So if task is unsuccessful, or if there is some problem, then I can record has not been deleted. I can show some different message. Okay, now everything is going good. Let me revisit this code again. I have defined this function delete student. Self is a parameter here. Selected row self dot table underscore widget dot current row, it's good. Then if selected row not equal -1, if there is a record, then I want to get the table underscore widget dot item. I have selected text of the selected row in student id, and I have got confirmation from the student, if the from the user, if he really want to delete the record. If confirm equal q message dot yes, then I have executed this query. Let me run this code now. So let me check if it is working. Before deleting, I can add some more record. I can add some other name of student, and now record has been added. If I want to delete any record, I have to select from any cell of the row, then I have to click over delete student, and it's a confirmation message. If I will click over yes, then record has to be deleted. Student has been deleted successfully. Message is there, but why it is okay. I think what I have to do, let me run it again. Then I will confirm if the record message is there but record is not deleted. Let me check what is the problem. Whenever we are writing execute query, it will actual execute whenever I have to write this string self dot whatever is the connection string, con connection dot commit. Without committing, query is not going to run. So whenever I want to execute some query, actually I have to commit that query as well. So I think it is the mistake what I have got. So whenever I am running this code, I believe it will run the query now. So if I am deleting the record, are you sure you want to delete this record? Yes. And let me run it again to check if it has been deleted or not. So yes, record is no more there. But what I can do here, because I have to close this window again and run it again to check if the record has been deleted or not. So what I have to do, I can reload self dot load underscore students for loading students at the same time to check if record has been deleted or not. So this way I never have to run the code again for checking. For example, let me run it again. And first of all, I can add new student. Mm, the student has been added. Whenever I want to delete the student, it will delete the record, and at the same time it will display it over here, because all of these records were retrieved from the table by function load underscore students. You know what I have done? I have called that function here after committing the query, after deleting the record. After committing the query, I have called load underscore students function again, so that it is showing me the result at the same window. So here delete student module has been done. Now if I want to update the student, again I have to add a new button in my layout, just like delete student button. Now what I have to do, self dot update underscore student button, and I have to add q push button, and the caption of the button should be update student. And now by clicking this button, I have to call some function clicked dot connect, and that function should be update student. Okay, now add student is working, delete student is working. Now I have to define update student as well for updating any of the particles of existing student. If I want to change the name, if I want to change the uh, cell number or any other value, because actually there are only two fields. One is name, and the other one is cell phone, so it will update only these two. But before going further, I have to add this widget in the layout. So if I comment this one, and I have added update button into the widget, add widget, then I can run the code and check if the button has been added or not. Update underscore student. So whenever I am running this code, I can see update button should be there in the user interface, but it is not working right now because I have not defined the clicked clicked function, clicked underscore connect function, which is update student in my case. So right now I am going to define that update student function. I have copied name of the function to avoid any typographical mistake. So just after delete student function, I can write here in a specific sequence. It is a update student function. So I can define here by writing def keyword, by writing the name of the function, and by including here self parameter. Now again I have to select the row just like in delete student. So selected underscore row self dot table underscore widget dot current row, it's good. I have to adopt this one. After selecting this row, I have to again check if, rather I can copy this code, because some of the I have to use some of the code from here. Okay, so if selected underscore row is definitely a record, then I have to get the student ID. I have got the student ID. Now now because I know there are only two cells for name and cell phone. So for updated name, I have to use here some code. For example, I can say uh, name, okay, 1 equal. Now I have to use now q input dialog. A simple dialog box would open for getting some value from the user, getting some text from the user, and there I have to put some parameters here, self, then what I am going to do, update name, then I can show some message to the user, enter new name, and here it is giving me error for q input dialog. So I have to import q input dialog for avoiding this error q input dialog. So I am hopeful the error is no more there. Yes, q input dialog is okay now. And by writing this code, dialog input dialog will be appear, and I can receive value from the user in a name variable. Now I can get updated cell number or cell phone number. So I can copy this code again, and I will do little changes where it is necessary. Here it should be cell phone, okay, to q input dialog box dot get text updated cell, enter updated cell number. Okay, so this way I can get updated name and updated cell number. After that I can check if OK1 and OK2 have some values, then I can do self dot cursor, because cursor is a object of the class where by using this cursor I can execute any of the query, and I have been using this cursor for executing delete query, for insert query. So it's a object of the class. By using this object I can execute any of the queries. So there are four fundamental queries for inserting record, for deleting records, for updating records, and for retrieving records. So right now I want to update and I want to update this table. The name of the table is students, and I want to set name and cell and with the values. But before providing the value I have to tell here where id equal id equal this one, and I have to provide here name, I think yes, name and cell and student id. Yes, good, student underscore id. So but what I can do more, I can change the variable name uname or updated name, so that there is no confusion between the variable names. Updated underscore cell. Now I have to change here updated name and updated cell. Now it's good, and it is a student id. Against this student id I have to update the record, because if I am not using this where clause, then what will happen, it will update all of the names or all of the cell phones for each and every record available in the table. Now again, what I have to do, from the previous experience, now I have to commit this query. So for committing this query, I have to run self dot con dot commit. By committing this query, actually this query will execute, and after that I can load students again, so that the changing in any of the record is showing abruptly or at once. After doing this, I also can show some message box. If everything has run accurately, then queue message box dot information update successful, name and cell number has been updated. It's good, has been changed or updated. Okay, but if there is some problem, then what can I do? I can write here else part, and I can say here update unsuccessful, student has not been updated. Okay, so if I am checking this code by running, so you can see code has run. I can update this record. So for updating any of the record, I have to click over any cell of the row, any cell of the record. So I have to click over update student. I have to enter new name. If it is same, then I can do the same way, and I have to enter cell phone. For example, I am saying pressing OK. So you can see name and cell number has been changed or updated. So you can see, because name was same, the new name and old name was same, so there is no change, but cell number has been changed successfully. So let me conclude all of this. You can see here uh, select query has been run on the backend, and we are getting records from the table of the database. By clicking over add student, we are adding new record into the database. By clicking over delete students, we are deleting record from the database or from the table, and we are also updating the records in the table. So it is a very small and little application which is performing all of the CRUD operations. And we have name our file as a CRUD, CRUD for CRUD for create database, and R for retrieve, and U for update, D for delete. So we have developed this little CRUD application. By developing this application, we have developed a database, a table, and we have entered the record, we have deleted the record, we have updated and retrieved the record. So by using this concept, we can develop more complex and more larger application as well.